Today, I have someone who's not just my personal favorite, but she's a favorite for many.
I came into Dubai and my first job in Dubai, my first salary was 816 dirhams, 99. Yeah.
From there
From
to
there.
a $512 million ticket size.
People say miracles sometimes happen. In my case, I would say miracles always happen. UAE definitely needs that kind of legal enforcement that has to be very strict. If you notice.
Very well said.
Yeah, the
Very well
laws
said.
are actually very easy to follow.
I
You
think
should
I
have been
was,
a lawyer too. You make a good lawyer.
Really? They also think that way. But I always wanted to be a chef because I said, I used to see my dad and grandfather sitting for 16 hours, 18 hours with the
True,
clients and doing every litigation matters. Like, these people don't have time to eat. So let me be the odd one out and make them, I'll feed them. So I thought I'll
Absolutely.
just be a chef.
Okay. He always told me, I don't respect the judge, I respect the chair.
Hello everyone, my name is Chef Shivani and welcome once again to a very inspirational episode, I would call it, with someone who I really admire, get inspired with, and someone who I feel is full of solutions. She's someone who's very clear. And welcome to this beautiful episode with me once again called Beyond The Boardroom. Today, I have someone who's not just my personal favorite, but she's a favorite for many. Yeah. And I would want to do the justice by reading what I have typed in as an introduction for her because I cannot afford to go wrong in sharing her accolades with everyone. So today we have someone who has done it all. Trust me. Seen it all and continues to grow as a general counsel in the dynamic business landscape of the UAE. She comes with over 26 years of consulting experience, over 500 plus corporate clients, and is a true powerhouse of wisdom, courage, and compassion. With her largest ticket size being 512 million US dollars. Guys, please, respect. She's known for her negotiation skills and someone who is always coming with an attitude, let's figure it out. I really want to open my arms and welcome my dearest and most favorite Geetha ma'am.
Thank you. You have humbled me. That's too much of an introduction.
No, you definitely deserve all of it. And I am so happy that we could do this together. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time. And whenever I work on creating, a podcast interview, whenever I talk to the team, I always tell people, I said, there are some people who are infamous for their famous work.
Wow. Absolutely.
And I really feel that has to come out.
Mm-hmm.
The entrepreneurs have to come out who have really worked hard to make that name, to maintain that name, and most importantly, yet being humble.
Absolutely.
So I am so glad that
Thank
you're
you.
here. And let's start.
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure.
So you've been in the business for over 26 years right now, right?
Yeah, I've always been a lawyer. Graduated in 96, 97 back in India.
Amazing.
And I still remember when I was doing my, at that time, 1 year before we graduated, my seniors, like as soon as they graduate, they could go to court and they can start earning. Unfortunately for us, fortunately, I would say, we had somebody called VP Singh, who was the Prime Minister at that time in
Yes, of
India.
course.
And he came up with the Mandal Commission and all that. And subsequently, the lawyers back in India were also considered officially as a professional group. And therefore, just as the doctors and as the engineers, what they go through, we had to go through an internship kind of a procedure. Therefore, as soon as we graduated, that it started from the year I graduated. So 96, 97, I graduated. And then for about a year or so, we had to work with the senior. Why I take this up is my senior used to say that if you tell yourself, once a lawyer, always a lawyer, you will make a good lawyer. So don't study law and don't pick up some other profession.
Yes.
Continue to be a lawyer.
Amazing.
And be a true one to that, wherever
Agree.
you are.
That's why I said that, we have players today in the world who have actually worked and delivered
Absolutely.
famous work, but they have been very infamous. you know.
Absolutely.
So it's my complete admiration that the kind of work that you've been doing, and whatever little research that we have done, is that I love the whole attitude of you saying, let's figure it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you see, Shivani, life has not been easy on me. Just as, I mean, everybody has their own cup of tea when it comes to problems. But for me, it's not a cup of tea. It has always been lorry loads of problems. So it has always been the, whenever I look at anything that comes to me, like give myself a mantra, which is like, I don't cry over spilt milk. What's done is done. That's it. End of story. What is next? So this idea of what is next actually helped me a lot, because I've always noticed a lot of people sit back to worry about what has happened. I mean, you can't change it. It's done. It's over. Finished. So that has given me a lot of productive time, I would say. I mean, while some tend to sit back and worry on how this happened, who did it, why they did it. I mean, we could have avoided it. Fine, it's done. What's next? So when we start looking at what's next, believe me, the whole spectrum changes, and you start thinking on more productive means and ways rather than sitting back and crying over spilt milk. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like crying over spilt milk.
I don't see you also doing anything on that, so it doesn't amaze me at all.
Absolutely.
Because I know it is just always that whole fighting spirit with a lot of courage, with a lot of wisdom.
True.
And yet keeping your head right on your shoulder.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the way you have been, trained people around you also, it speaks a lot. Because
Oh, well, you see, the profession also helps me a lot, helped me a lot in that, because I am not a litigating lawyer. I mean, I really don't enjoy going to court as much, even when I was back in India. Of course, it's 25 years ago. Now, if I go back, I'm a total novice and I cannot get into
25 years in Dubai?
Yes, ma'am. 25 years in Dubai. I landed in 1999. Yeah, 25 years almost. Yeah.
So absolutely, like you have seen Dubai growing in
Oh,
front of you.
yes. Oh, yes. I came into Dubai, and my first job in Dubai, my first salary was 816 dirhams.
Wow.
99. Yeah.
From there
From
to
there.
a $512 million ticket size.
Yes, ma'am. That is basically, well, again, that's actually a very, how should I put it? People say miracles sometimes happen. In my case, I would say miracles always happen. Like,
Of course.
when
I believe
in fact I was called by this client, and I don't know whether I should call it my down to earth attitude or whether I was really humble, but as I am always, I told the client, look, what I can do is I can try and check which law firm can take this up for you. He came back, and he said okay. And then I went about checking the quotations from a few law firms. I really did a lot of work. I went around, and then when I presented him all the quotes that I received from 5 or 6 international firms, and he said, Geetha, I want to meet you. I said, sure, I'm coming. And I thought probably I'll get some piecemeal work somewhere on the side. And he sat with me and he said, Geetha, there's a saying in English, it's always better to work with a known devil than with an unknown angel. I know you for almost this many years. Can you take this up? I was like, you really think I can take this up? He said, why not? Why are you underestimating yourself? I think you can do it. And that was the beginning of it. And yeah, we worked on that file for nearly 18 months.
Wow.
And I was a lead counsel, and we were on the sell side, and on the buying side, we had almost about 18 plus 2, almost about 21 lawyers, all of them together. So
Wow.
me versus them. Yeah, it was, for somebody like me, that was a massive. I mean, I wouldn't get a file like that in my life again, but as a corporate consultant.
You never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Oh, yeah.
It might just become 1024.
Oh, thank you very much. I really wish it would. Thank
100%.
you, my dear.
So with Dubai being so stringent and strict, the laws are very strict here, which I really like, airtight with the laws. How does it impact the citizens like us, the rules and regulations?
Look, basically, I wouldn't call the laws as being very strict and stringent, but we should look at it like this. For a country with the dynamics that, UAE as a country with the kind of dynamics it has. Please remember, UAE is host to so many nationalities. It isn't easy.
No,
It
not
isn't
at all.
easy at all.
Yeah.
Hats off to the government and hats off to the
leadership,
ruling. The leadership. How they have been coming up with varieties of rules and regulations.
Yeah.
I would call the UAE an evolving nation. It's not a nation which is there and which has got a history of that many years. While if you look around, with all due respect, there are so many nations with so much of history still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, of
You know?
course. Of course.
From that perspective, if you see, UAE definitely needs that kind of legal enforcement that has to be very strict. If you notice,
Very well said.
yeah, the
Very well
laws are actually very easy to follow. Frankly, we deal with different countries and different jurisdictions and the laws there. It's quite difficult to adapt to the laws from various other societies. That way, if you see, the laws here are very simply spelt, very clear. And yeah, we do not have extensive analysis of legalities here. However, the application of law is made very simple and the law enforcement is to the dot perfect.
Amazing.
If the law enforcement was weak, take it from me, you cannot expect this country to be a thriving country as it is.
I totally believe that UAE and especially Dubai, it's making its own history.
Absolutely.
It's creating its
If
own.
you, Shivani, I was here in '99, and I have had the good fortune of meeting the ruler of Dubai now, Sheikh Mohammed. I have had the good opportunity, and I was lucky to meet him in Burjuman.
Wow.
You know, these leaders are so down to earth. In fact, I was pregnant with my son, and he just checked at me because I was standing on the railing like that. I still remember. He was the general of the army at that time. He was known as Major General Shiv Mohammed. So he just stopped by and he said, "Are you okay?" I didn't realize who it was later with the kind of entourage that followed Sheikh Mohammed. I realized it was Sheikh Mohammed. You know, that was the kind of people relationship. I'm an expat for all purposes. And why would the ruler want to stop by to check? You know, that's the reach. And if you really see that kind of, if you see the amount of things that the rulers as well as the leadership have done for the people, that's amazing.
Yeah. It requires a lot of, I think I would say rather, it requires an expansive heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then you see, when they plan expansions of a country like this, it is not possible unless and until they have a properly laid out plan. And as I said, from 99, if you ask me where the UAE is today, where Dubai is today, take it from me, when I landed in this country, from the World Trade Center until Jebel Ali, it was only sand. There was nothing, literally nothing. Only the road was there. All right? World Trade Center, you cross, and then you had the Toyota thing. And then after that, it was Dubai factory. It was that. And you see Dubai now. There was no Business Bay. I remember I was one of the first legal consultants. I was working with Galadari and Associates at that time.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Business Bay plot number 33. That was the first plot that was sold in this country. The first plot that was sold. And I was part of the SPA that was written on that plot. Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic leadership. And yeah, as you rightly said, the country definitely has got a big way to grow.
People are going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Always.
They're making
It's
history on their own.
Yes,
God bless them.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, it's very strange because my father was also a corporate lawyer.
Fantastic.
So was my grandfather.
Okay. And why didn't you become a chef otherwise? You should have been a lawyer too. You make a good lawyer though.
Really? Thank you. They also think that way. But I always wanted to be a chef because I said, I used to see my dad and grandfather sitting for 16 hours, 18 hours with the clients and doing the brief and litigation matters. Like, these people don't have time to eat. So let me be the odd one out and make them, I'll feed them.
Absolutely.
So I thought I'll just be a chef.
Okay.
So, sometimes, it's always questioned. He was always questioned when he used to take care of a lot of very big names in the corporate world. He was an industrial and a corporate lawyer and labor lawyer as well. So always used to be questioned about the credibility and the morality as a lawyer when it comes to certain cases, because you are as a person different, and you're representing yourself out and loud in the court of law very differently, and you have to stand up for your client. So have you ever been questioned about
I
your
wouldn't.
moral compass?
I wouldn't put myself in a typical situation like that. But I would definitely say one thing I learned when I was very young in the profession is emotions out of the business. You cannot be involved emotionally with any client for that matter.
Yeah.
Because you see, back in India, when I started to practice, my senior was a criminal lawyer. He was one of the best defense lawyers in town. He was, in fact, known as the Tiger of Mysore. He was that kind of.
Amazing.
God bless his. May he rest in peace. He's passed away almost about 10 years now. But you see, the kind of ethos that I learned from him was, he always told me, I don't respect the judge, I respect the chair.
Beautifully said.
Right?
Yeah.
So that hit very deep in me, where it's the law that we have to respect, not the person sitting there, because they keep changing.
It's very beautiful, because I practice Buddhism, and this is a lot about that you have to follow the law and not the person.
Absolutely.
So it's such a beautiful
Absolutely,
point that
because
you
you see, Shivani, what actually happens is, when we take up any case for that matter, well, of course, here in the UAE also, there was a time when I was working as a legal consultant, we also happened to come by a lot of family matters. What happens is, well, that's the most trickiest one. Trickiest in the sense the client, exactly, the client emotionally depends on you. They have nowhere to go. So
I would say they were looking more for like a validation. That are we right, are we wrong?
Absolutely. So what happens is, you need to represent one of the spouses, all right? So let's assume it's the wife. So I'm representing the wife here, and she gives me bags full of crap about her husband. But our professional ethic demands that I need to have a meeting with the husband also before we actually decide whether we need to go to the court to dissolve this the marriage, or we need to attempt at some kind of a compromise between both the parties, because as per the Indian personal laws, that's the way we are supposed to handle. And there have been many a times when the husband walks into the meeting, I'm like, such a nice guy, what's your problem? This is always happening, right?
I know.
Because most of the times, that's the thing. If you're not supposed to take into your mind so deep what's actually put, you need to switch on your lawyer analytical skills and collect all the info as you need, and then use your own lawyer brain to analyze in the legal way. Right? So from that perspective, I've had certain situations of the questioning of my moral responsibility and my ability to comprehend the complication. But I'm a quick learner. I learned very fast to stay out of the marriage politics, focus on your client's needs. Well, so in my career here in Dubai, I have actually patched about 67 families. I failed with 4. I failed with 4 though. And then I quit that area. Because it's,
I think it's just very very taxing as well.
Very much, because
you don't know as a third party who's right and who's wrong, and you just have to come at a common goal.
Yeah, true, Shivani. Look, that's one type of a contract where we cannot give space for who's right, who's wrong. It's more the parties themselves who need to sort it out. And that's exactly why the Indian personal laws in relation to marriages and dissolution is also a beauty, because it's the only Indian law which insists in the whole world that the couple must attempt at a compromise to sort it out. I mean, there's no divorce at one shot. It is actually difficult for a lot of couples, because if the compatibility is not there, there's no point. But what I'm trying to say here is that is one of the most emotionally taxing subjects for lawyers.
It is.
Otherwise, I don't have any history of any other.
But any like a deadliest case which you became a part of and it impacted you in a personal manner?
Back in India, yes, because my senior, as I said, he was the
Criminal lawyer, the best criminal lawyer.
the criminal lawyer for this guy called Veerappan, if you have heard of
Oh
him.
my God, of course.
So
Wow.
my senior,
He was defending him?
yes.
Oh, wow.
Not him exactly, because he
the whole
was
troop,
the whole family.
Wow.
So my senior was representing them. So in the whole lot, there were about 2 or 3 of them who actually also slid down to the juniors, and I had to work on 2 people of the same family. It kind of became difficult for me because it's a criminal case, and the Mysore jail inmates came to know that there is a young lady who's arguing really well. And would you believe if I tell you that we had some people on parole come to my little cuckoo of an office with pumpkins and brinjals and all that? And
Really?
then they were not able to give me the fee, and these are all on parole. Can you imagine? They were like, we have only this to give, and I have to go back to the jail. This is my case. Can you do it or not? That's the way they used to come.
Oh.
Can you imagine? And so from the next day onwards, I had to request some of my juniors in college. So I used to ask these guys, and these poor guys used to come in their bikes, and they used to sit outside my office until I closed down at 8:30 in the night.
Guarding you.
Guards. We have had
Yeah,
all
obviously
that.
you had like a case of Veerappan, so definitely it has to be.
And they used to also come and give us, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but in those days they used to come and give us small pieces of sandalwood and ivory and all that. They were offering us, can you take this? We can't pay your fee. This is what. And I said, no, I'm scared. I can't take all this.
Wow.
They didn't have cash to give you. They would give you this. And if you don't accept it, you're actually going to pinch them on the wrong side. They get offended. So you have no situation like where you can say, no, you have to take up the case. You can't take up the case also.
Exactly. That's what I feel that, with lawyers, it becomes their mind has to be so strong at all the times because they can't they don't have the leisure or the luxury to bifurcate between right and wrong. Client is right or wrong. Doesn't matter. It's client is client. Client is always right.
That's it. That's it. No, again, as I said, if you cut out the emotional attachment with any client that comes your way, it is better and easier. But as you grow in the profession, I've also tried and I've succeeded in saying no in some places. Yeah, I lose the client. That's a different thing. But the professional ethics doesn't permit you. So you say no. I've done that. I've done that. And in some cases, I've even written back the fee. I said, I can't work for you. Because some clients are there who kind of insist that they are right, but legally they are wrong. You cannot continue representing them. So in those matters, yes, I've also done these things. So it was straightforward said. I feel that's one reason why I'm able to survive even today.
Yeah, but I also feel that it requires a lot of tactful
A lot of grit
negotiations.
also. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So do you consider
Absolutely.
yourself tactful negotiator?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I take a lot of time to negotiate, but
Yeah.
I do what
Yeah,
best
because
I
I
can.
think it's not very easy to convince people without. See, it's very easy for anyone coming from a market research background or a business background to say, oh, there is data which says this. For you, it's the law.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So you have to abide by it.
Absolutely.
And we have to just convince the client this is how it
Absolutely.
is going to be.
True. Because what happens is, look, every law, like when we interpret the law, we get into articles and clauses and subclauses and whatnot. So these are not just written there overnight. These are concluded after so much of hard work in trying to visualize a scenario in each case, and each scenario is then dissected into multiple sub scenarios, and then from there on, okay, this is the way it has to be, this is the way it should not be. So the laws are not written overnight, right? So when you are going to look into the law, for example, let's look into the labor law.
Yeah,
Labor
very
law is a
important, yeah.
big subject here because most of us expatriates, we all come here for work to earn a livelihood. So the labor law has gone through extensive overhauls in this country. When I first came into the UAE, the labor law that we had that day is not what it is today. It has been
Really?
of course, it has been improvised so many times, and it's as I said, this country is an evolving country, and the laws in this country are evolving in nature too. Why?
Right.
Because we have circumstances changing here, and the leadership has also done its level best to keep up to the pace of the change of circumstances. If you look a little deeper, let's say the country is progressing like crazy, but your laws are so backward, it won't work. You
Yeah,
need
of
to
course.
have the laws also be on top of matters. And if you see what happened when the bubble broke in 2008, 2009 with the properties, you see,
Yes, yes.
at that time, if you see, frankly, the country was actually trying to get everything together.
Correct.
But when the law came out, it's all completely streamlined, that's how it should be. So from that perspective, if you go back to basics, the circumstance of every situation is actually interpreted clearly in any law that is put in front
Yeah,
of you.
definitely.
So that's why the law is more important. Whatever the client wants to say, it has to go according to law, right?
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying, that, when over a period of time since you've been here and, 25 years, and in your profession, obviously, you will also meet people who are coming from different nationalities, because you said that we are the host.
True.
UAE is the host for so many nationalities. How are you able to build those kind of relationships with people? Because sometimes that whole, in every, business or in any profession that we do, sometimes we get back to our own background. It happens, we just, we do it like this, we do it like that.
Right.
But how do you kind of maneuver around in this whole multicultural?
That's a beautiful question. In fact, it was one question which we had to actually identify as our need when we have to think of sustainability in this country.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course. I get that.
See,
yeah.
that way, if you see, as far as we lawyers are concerned, for us, the law is the Bible. So, you study law in India, you can adapt to any legal system in the world.
Really?
Yes, because the legal
That's
studies that we go through in India is so vast and massive. When we were in college, we used to regret why we have to study so much. But once you get out of college and once you get into, say, for example, like me, I got out of college and I was practicing in India for 1 or 2 years, and then I migrated to Dubai. Now, for me to adapt to the legal system here, the kind of training that I had back in India was very helpful because it's vast. Now, for jurisdictions like the UK or the US or wherever you want to call from the West, it's a bit difficult because there the streams that you're going to study is not general like what you study in law. In India, you have only one LLB, that is Legum
Correct,
Baccalaureus,
yeah.
only one. And in the UK, you have specializations. You can
Yes.
study tax, you can study
Yes,
corporate,
yes,
you
they
can
do.
study
Yeah.
what do you call litigation, you can study arbitration, you can study criminal. In India, all of it is put together.
Together.
Right. So you have the basic training of every sphere in it. So that kind of helps for us to adapt. Secondly, once we start really to advise, look, we get a variety of clients. So this variety of clients, we kind of divide them into two, whether they want some kind of a representation on a global level or they want some kind of a representation on a local level. Now, again, in local, we bifurcate further. Do they want any consulting services or do they want any representation or legal services?
Yeah.
So if they want representation or legal services, the file moves into a UAE local lawyer's office. If they want consultation, it breaks down further.
Yes, of
what
course.
kind of consultation? Do
Yeah.
they want commercial? Do they want arbitration? Do they want drafting? Do they want succession and inheritance? Do they want family? So kind of we have over a period of time etched our own methodology of assisting client needs. It becomes easy. And there are some clients, you are absolutely spot on with that question, because we have had difficulties of late with clients who are coming from the Indian peninsula basically, because they're so used to that system there.
Correct. It takes time for them to get accustomed to
Adapt.
something different. Yes,
Exactly.
of course.
But here, if you see, again, I go back to the leadership. If you see the varieties of the free zones,
Of course, of course.
right?
The businesses
And
are
then,
so easier.
yes,
Yes,
and
of
then
course.
secondly, the DIFC structure, the ADGM structure. Now you have the Masdar city structure.
Yes.
So you have a lot of choice here.
Yeah, I think
Right.
everything is there for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So from the legal perspective also, here within the UAE itself, you have multiple choices like the DIFC. You choose DIFC, then you very clearly know you need to adapt yourself to the DIFC legal system. Now, if the DIFC legal system, we specifically advise the client only as per DIFC legal system.
Makes sense.
Right.
So tell me something when you speak about, we're discussing more on, representation in the court of law and also doing consultancy, right? They're two separate.
Correct.
Where do you see the future of these young buzzing lawyers who are coming from different other countries in UAE? Do you see that the culture of courts still happening, of the importance of the chair, which we always talk about? Or it is more simplifying than let's just have laws and regulations and acts in place and just adhere to that and khalas, finish it?
No, it doesn't normally work like that. You see, what happens is every country has its own judiciary. You need to have the law enforcement. Now, there are three pillars in every country, how it actually works. One is the judiciary, one is the executive, and one is the administration.
Correct.
Right. Now, the judiciary basically should be there in order to enforce and see the enforcement of whatever is the rules and regulations the country specifically has laid for itself. Now, when you talk about the judiciary is incomplete without the court system.
Correct.
So you have to have that.
Correct.
Now, the court system in every country's judiciary is very important, which is why only that national or that nationality has an audience before the bench, we call it.
Yeah,
All right.
makes
So now
sense.
I qualified in India, and as soon as I finish my LLB, there's a procedure in India. It's a bar exam. We have to complete a bar exam.
of
You're
course.
aware of
Yeah,
it
I'm aware.
because
and
of
then
your
you get a certificate and a little card and a license and
absolutely.
everything.
Now, that permits me or authorizes me to argue my client's case in front of any judge back in India. If I further pass exams, I can also appear before the appeal courts, or I can go to the Supreme Court and I have a chamber. Now, no other nationality other than the Indian nationality will be allowed to do this in India. No other lawyer, I mean.
Oh, okay.
So me as a lawyer, I cannot be authorized here to go before the judge here and argue. I'm not authorized.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not having the bar membership here.
Makes sense.
Right? So for all purposes, we need to understand in any country for that matter. Suppose I go to Paris. I mean, I have to be a co-counsel only, and there has to be a French national who will appear before the court. It's the same thing here. The UAE local national lawyers will be the lawyers who will appear before the court, and we cannot actually appear in front of the judge.
Okay.
However, we delegate that file, if the client is mine, we delegate the file to the local UAE national lawyer, and we also work in the file. So we are co-counsels.
Okay.
Now, this is about the court systems. Now, these are called the judicial systems, the court system. You got something called the quasi-judicial system. Quasi-judicial means almost judicial, which is the arbitration, this alternate dispute resolution, and then negotiations and settlements. And here, you don't need to really be a member of the relevant bar association. Here, you need to be qualified as a lawyer, which is we.
Clear. Okay.
So, now, your question in relation to the young and budding lawyers, you see, the world is changing, evolving every day.
Yeah,
so
because I always see them just sitting in front of the computers and just working on those kind
absolutely.
of drafting and
Absolutely.
And
Now, what is actually happening is because of this requirement, which is a mandatory requirement of you being a citizen of your country to be qualified for the presentation before the bar or in front of the judge, right? If that is not available, you cannot go in front of the judge and argue the case. Therefore, the opportunity for the youngsters to be lawyers is not available. However, the opportunity for the youngsters to be legal consultants, and what do you want to call them? You can call them the attorneys, you want to call them the barristers, you want to call them the legal counsels, whatever you want to call.
I like the word barrister.
Oh yeah, that's basically still available.
Okay.
Well, again, now the barristers is the UK system, the attorneys is the US system. All right.
of course.
So there's a lot of difference as you go in. However, long story short, youngsters have a lot of scope as a consultant, because you see, how much ever chat GPT or AI and whatever interference you want to call it
I
comes,
swear, yeah.
there is nothing as close as it can get to a lawyer's ability. It's extremely difficult. I
Chat
don't know.
GPT needs a lawyer.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because you see,
Everybody needs a lawyer.
Oh yes, off late I have actually kind of moved into fintech, and you're aware
Yes.
of it. And I do a lot of cyber law consultations and all that.
Nice.
So I had a client from Spain. They are into big time AI and all that.
Okay.
I mean, I said, out of curiosity, why do you need a lawyer? That's something I asked them. And Santos, his name was, he came back and says, Miss Geetha, we have to start somewhere, right? Made a lot of sense.
Yes, everyone needs it.
Right?
Everyone needs to
He
buy
said,
that.
we have the AI, we have the smart contracts, we have the chat GPT, we have everything. But we still need a lawyer to start the black and white somewhere.
Absolutely,
Makes
absolutely.
sense.
That's where I was coming. So you see yourself more comfortable in presenting yourself in front of a chair, or do you feel more comfortable in, let me just be very sure on my paperwork? Because I know as a lawyer, you have to be very clear about your paperwork. I mean, just like submit it and my arbitration or my arguments and all, and maybe a junior can handle. What are you like as a person? How do you define yourself being a lawyer?
Shivani, as a person, we still have not had the opportunity to really work together, as in work together. But for me, the quality of the file matters, not the number.
Makes sense.
So I have rejected a lot of files simply because I don't have the time. And I prefer to give my full-on attention to whosoever's work I'm taking in. So that way, if you see, we are self-sufficient. I mean, we aren't after the race for files.
Yes.
We call, in our language, the number of clients is number of files, actually. So we have select clients and we spend more time there because we are also a panel with banks. So that needs a lot of attention.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I'm a person who does not actually like to delegate what I'm supposed to do to my colleague and then wash off. No way. I sit and I finish.
It. Makes sense.
I finish.
Nice. So as a person, you are very dedicated.
Absolutely. Because at the moment, as I speak to you, my own drafting library has crossed 7,000 agreements.
Wow.
I've drafted.
Amazing.
Yeah, 7,314 to be precise. Oof. Because I keep count. We don't do cut, copy, paste. I don't like it. I like to.
I think you should start looking at doing a podcast for the lawyers.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's something which...
I'm happy this way.
Yeah, no, because there's so much that you can literally like take out of them.
Yeah.
So what's been like feeling, and you've reached at such a position now, a very reputed lawyer, very respectful lawyer.
Thank you.
And also... I'm very intrigued about this whole karaoke thing which you do with your son. So how's that come into the picture of mother and son being karaoke partners? One is on the drums, one is singing.
Yeah.
So how does, I mean,
you see,
I love the balance that you're creating. There is so much you bring in on the table, where when you're in front of the client, you're like, tuck, Liz, this is what it is, this is how it is. As you said that you've done more than 7,000 agreements,
True.
which means that your work is so perfect that you've done so much. And at the same time, you're somebody who is full of life, and there you are making people's life, you're sorting their lives with your agreements and your files, and here you are creating a different genre for yourself, like creating like a
No,
band.
look, it happened. It didn't happen by choice. It was by chance. I would say. So, well, as you're aware, I fell terminally ill in
Yes.
2020. It was a shock for all of us, in fact. But we grew out of it, and in the face of growing out of it, it so happened we really weren't able to focus on Netflix or anything at that time because the mind was so occupied with what if, too many what ifs.
Of course.
And that's when we went to visit one of my friends, and they just were showing off with the drums that they got for their daughter. So me and my son Aditya went and sat on it, and he was always wanting to do something with the drums, and so he was just trying to do something with the drums. I said, "You don't do it that way. Let me try." And I started playing my school rhythm on the drums.
Oh my God.
The school band. Yeah, this happened in my friend's
So
house.
it's like
and we still
inherent
have it.
potential.
I don't know what
It is inherent potential.
It came out well, and
Yeah.
everybody around were clapping, and they said, "Come on, if you can do this, you can do even better." I said, "Yeah, why not?" And I asked him how much you spent. It was a couple of thousand dirhams. We said, "Okay, fine, we'll buy a drums," and somebody else helped us find a nice teacher. We did all that together, and boom, we started drum classes at home. In fact, I also learned drumming with him. So my son is an excellent drummer now because he picks up from YouTube and all that, and he does a lot.
Amazing.
And me, I was drumming for almost about 4 or 5 months, but then I had to wean off a little bit. And then I said, and one day when we were just sitting and doing this, we decided we'll create our own music. So I was good in percussions and he was good in drums. And when percussions, you can experiment with different sounds, right? Varieties of sounds you can experiment actually. So I was
Do you know you're a library of talent?
Thank you.
I would just want to call you that. So I'll just re-record my whole introduction for you. Instead of calling you a maestro of this and that, I should call you a library of talent.
There is a lot I still have to learn, though. It has been too good. So that's how it all started. So we wanted to get one drum beat correct, for which there had to be a song, but the boombox wasn't working, really. He said, "You know what, Amarkant, can you just sing?" I said, "What?" He said, "Can you just sing? I'll try the beat, you sing." I said, "Okay," and I started singing. And then we recorded it. And I said, "I can't believe it. I was singing." That's how it happened.
That's amazing.
And
So
from
you did mention a little bit about that you were terminally ill in 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, it's been a journey. Everyone, and I'm glad that you've overcome it.
Thank you.
And leading a healthy lifestyle.
Yes, I am.
So anything you want to encourage people?
Well, you see, again there, Shivani, in the beginning of our talk, I told you a lot of miracles have happened in my life. So irrespective of all the troubles that I've gone through, God's always been with me. I was in stage 4 when I was diagnosed. And it was extreme. And I was diagnosed exactly when we had peak COVID.
Oh my God.
There was no way I can go to India. There was no way we can. We used to have the Dubai police app to even go to the grocery, remember? Those days.
Yes.
That was the time. But again, I took it very positively, and I believed COVID was actually a blessing for me, so that I did not have a lot of people coming and visiting me. And there was a lot of distress, there was a lot of pain, and there was a lot of procedures that I had to go through, 14 chemos, 25 radiations, and all of it. But I learned something very, very strongly after that. Like, you have only one life and live it XXX. I tell this to everybody. I don't know if I've told you also. You have only one life. Live it to the fullest. Because after going through all that pain and the disease, I am allergic to people who bicker and fight for small things. I really can't stand that.
You just reinvented yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Believe me, that is, compared to anything else, that is a revealing journey, You really go there and you come back.
Of course, and that's exactly what the whole idea was, that, as I said in the beginning, that you have done work for some really famous people,
Absolutely.
famous companies, but it's always behind the scene. But sometimes BTS, I always see, is actually the backbone for everything.
Absolutely.
And I have nothing, my mouth is like sealed.
Absolutely.
Because you have, it's not easy. People cry, oh my God, I have a back pain and I
Don't
have this
tell
pain
me.
and that pain. You've been there, done those 7,000 plus agreements.
Oh, yes.
You have been there, trained yourself as a drummer, and started again everything from scratch. So you're somebody who I believe is an epitome of setting standards for people.
Thank you, ma'am. I even learned to DJ. Now I'm a
Oh
DJ
my
too.
God. Amazing.
Online, learned
So,
it
but I
online.
really, really want to thank you
Thank
for
you so
this.
much.
And
Thank
I'm
you,
glad
darling.
that we could do this.
Thank you very
and
much.
I really, really want to wish you from the bottom of my heart
Thank you.
nothing but peace,
Thank you.
protection,
Thank you.
a lot of love. And of course, let's do 14,000 agreements now. Come
Thank
on.
you.
There
And
you go.
let me also thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm not sure if I deserve this, but I really
You do,
consider
in
this
every
as
manner.
a great opportunity. And I should thank you, Ashna, and everybody, Aditya also, and
team.
of course, all of them involved in this. I mean, it came out of the blue, bolt on me.
Yeah,
and I
just to
enjoyed it thoroughly.
kind of wrap it up, when we were discussing about getting the real people who've done some real work.
Right.
Sometimes it's very easy to get the glamour out right there. You have
Absolutely.
marketing companies, PR agencies, and all who really push you right there to be in the media.
True,
But I think when we were discussing to work on Beyond the Boardroom, for me it was very important to actually get the heroes who are behind the scenes
Right.
and who have created work for the ones in front of the screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think for me, Beyond the Boardroom is actually that what actually goes behind
Fantastic.
a lot of things.
No, you really need to do something
Yeah.
like this, Shivani. And I totally agree with you because, as you rightly said, look, today, with all due respect, this is my personal opinion. I mean, I don't mean to offend anybody, but I feel making of a celebrity has become so commercial these
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Real celebrities are lost in the race. Did you notice it?
Of
Because
course.
if you get deeper into it, there are so many people who are actual celebrities. When you see the Republic Day parade back in India, there is some Veer Shur Dhairya and all
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
awards. And there are some old people also which were presented this year, and their stories are fantastic. But then if you really look into the celebrity race, it's so commercialized. I
It is.
wish success to be, what do you call this?
Beyond the
the
boardroom.
boardroom. Yeah, beautiful phrase you have there. I absolutely wish Beyond the Boardroom, you and the team there, the
Yes.
best.
It's the teamwork, of course,
I know,
which brings
I know,
it all.
I know. Do well,
But
dears. Thank you all so much
Thank
for the
you
opportunity.
so much. Thank you so much
you.
for this.
Thank you very